Welcome to Charlie in Sotogrande, the podcast where we look at the people, the places and the passions that make Sotogrande this fantastic community it is.
And these things are selling very well. Leasing €6.5 million property, easy for sale sign, and you don't really know where to turn.
Many would call Sotogrande a district of Marbella. After all, it is only 60 kilometers on a motorway, so only half an hour away. So joining me today is Peter Jacobson of Peter Jacobson Premium Estates. He's a person who's been in Marbella virtually all his life, was a pro golfer, I believe, we'll ask him about that, but in the luxury real estate, he has worked virtually all his life. So looking forward to a good conversation with Peter in terms of what sort of Marbella is all about, how has it developed, how has it grown, and how it's integrating Sotogrande into its districts. Peter, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, you are a Swede or a Spaniard?
Big mix. I'm half Swedish, half Cuban, born in the States.
Half Cuban?
Yeah, my mother was Cuban.
Oh wow, I never knew that.
Dad Swedish, and I was born in New York. And I came to Marbella when I was 11.
Why did you come to Marbella when you're 11?
My parents forced me.
They forced you?
No, that's a joke.
What a nice thing to do, no?
Absolutely. No, because my father came for work reasons. He ran a big health center on the Golden Mile called Centro Forestal Sueco. And we came down for that. Centro Forestal Sueco. It's a big health center.
Cool.
We came down for that.
Yeah. He's a doctor or?
No, he was like the general manager.
Yeah.
So he has had a hotel and restaurant background. Okay. Yeah.
Now, I believe you were a wannabe golfer. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty much. Then I realized, that you got to make a real living.
Unless you're that 0.01% to make it.
Unless you're just 0.01%. I did turn professional. I was a PGA member of the Swedish PGA.
Okay.
I played a couple of European Tour events. I played the Spanish Open, Portuguese Open, and Swedish Golf Professional Tour.
Okay.
So I did get a taste of it.
But, who did you cross over with? I mean, who were the big Swede players at the time?
Back in the day, a very close friend of mine was Anders Forsbrand, who was he was a very, very good player. And then I knew Ove Selberg and Per Andersson. These were big names in Sweden. Yeah. But Anders he made it pretty well.
Right.
So he's a good friend.
We've had the Swedes come down here. Aberg, the big guy at the moment, of course.
Yeah, of course, he's unbelievable. Yeah. Åberg is inhuman.
Inhuman, isn't it?
Yeah, he's unreal.
Yeah. How was the town at the time? What was Marbella? The Golden Mile was the Golden Mile.
It was, and we had.
What year are we talking about, roughly?
I came to Marbella. My parents and I came to Marbella in January 1975. So Franco was alive.
Wow.
So I've really seen every aspect of Marbella and the market.
I remember first going to Marbella, must have been very late 70s, because I don't know how old you are now.
Right.
And Banus was there, Sinatra's was there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That famous bar. But where the Corte Inglés was, it was a dirt football track. You could play football there with
and shortly after the period you're talking about, they made a really nice cinema there, which was at the time amazing, because we had cinema in original version.
Oh wow!
Because in Spain they dub and they into Spanish language.
Yeah.
So you could see original films in the cinema. Okay. On that piece of land that you're talking about.
Right. So it's an outdoor cinema.
No, it was indoor.
Okay.
But it was so cool. In those days, you could have it like a rum and coke and sit in the cinema and
Oh wow!
And you have people like Stuart Granger and Sean Connery and people sitting in the cinema.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Really?
Because they lived down there.
Because that's the big thing about Marbella, the big names, isn't it? So the way back then, the big guys were going.
It's amazing, but we're a little bit immune to it because we see a lot of famous people. Yeah, and we really do. But we're privileged. It's,
I recall, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned it on this podcast. Sean Connery wanted to buy in Sotogrande, but they did not sell to him because the Sotograndinos didn't want paparazzi.
Oh really?
And they thought,
oh wow!
By having him here, there would be lots of paparazzi coming down, and it was not right for the those who wanted to. Yeah.
I saw Sean Connery a lot because I was a member of a lot of golf club, and so was he. And, so I saw him a lot, and then he used to play a lot of golf at Los Naranjos Golf Club, where my father had the concession for the restaurant.
Okay.
So when I turned professional, I worked extra in the bar at my parents in the clubhouse. Yeah. And so I'd be serving him agua con gas con lima and roast beef.
He didn't drink?
No, well, not when he's playing golf.
Okay. And was he a good golfer? Because
very good golfer.
Yeah.
He was I think a very solid 6 or 8 handicap, and very good golfer.
Because in all his films, of course, it also came out that he loved golf. He
was a passionate golfer. Yeah. It's a good old Scot.
Good old Scot, exactly.
Absolutely. No, 100%.
So the names were then, and they're there today as well, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I played golf, Aloha, another member, and back in that day, I was like a James Hunt, the racing driver, the Formula One driver.
Yeah, yeah.
So I played with him and his dog Oscar, who was trained for the golf course.
What was it?
So I hit a ball in the edge of the water, and he would tell Oscar to go and get it, and I lifted it up on the fairway. And I went, good boy, good boy.
Very good.
Nice anecdote.
So what was the real estate like in those days?
The real estate?
Yeah. I mean, you were a kid, so maybe you didn't pay attention to it. But
I didn't. I got into real estate in 1986.
Okay. So before that, it was just a blur.
But for me, it was just a blur. I was studying. I went to international schools here, and then I took my then A levels at Millfield School in Street in Somerset in England. And, and then came back, went to university, and started in real estate. Okay,
Muirfield in Somerset, that's another sports school.
Muirfield is a very well famous sports school. Yeah, I was on the golf team.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was also very known for its academics. It was,
I know. A lot of friends of mine have sent the kids there, and they are. I mean, half the rugby team from England came out of there at one point.
100%. Yeah. And they bribed me with the first colour tie to join the rugby team because I'm quite strongly built, and but I was a passionate golfer. Okay. So I was on the team, and we had to play universities because there was no other team in England who could match us. Yeah. Okay. For schools. Yeah, for schools, obviously. Yeah. Marbella's gone through a fascinating transformation, because Marbella is where the port is, the Marbella port, and it's grown and grown and grown and grown. Correct. How have you seen that over the years? I mean, I know it's a great number of years, but if you started in the late 80s, 86, I think you just said, what's some big transformation would you say has happened? I mean, it's just been Marbella is. As you know, a world brand, and it was even then too. And I just find that in those days, Nueva Andalucía was not even a third of what it is today. La Quinta was born in 1986. That's when the very first few houses started appearing. Yeah. And today it's there's urbanization with tremendous villas and apartments. So and the Westin Hotel came along, and it wasn't Westin then, but that came along, and La Quinta Golf Course. So a huge development, and and the infrastructure. Yeah. Just Central Plaza, where you have every single service you can imagine. The growth of infrastructure. The road network improved a lot, and the services. In the old days, I used to say if a friend came along and said, I'm going to Sweden, could you bring me back, whatever my favorite things. Now we got like 6 Swedish supermarkets. Right. So just general infrastructure. Yeah. And that has been driven by, I'm going to call it the Jesus Hill growth period. Yeah, I mean, that was, I know it ended up not particularly good, but he did a lot of chasing around and getting the whole place to really take off. Hill in Marbella was not in a great state when he came along, from a point of view of maintenance, particularly. Yeah. And he lifted it up something incredible. Then unfortunately he lost the plot a little bit. But he did a lot of good for Marbella as well. Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah, I always think you need a little bit of a dictator to make things happen. A little bit, because if you start get bogged into the town halls and things, just don't get done. Now, I understand what you mean by, you got it wrong at the end. Went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that was a pretty bad thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, just briefly, we've had films made here in Sotogrande about, baddies that have been here. They've because they're closest to Gibraltar, they're closest to Africa. They've made films of gangsters basically who have come and been up in the hills and all this sort of stuff. And Marbella, the Costa del Crime, was a big thing in the British press anyway. I mean, it's before extradition.
They love those headlines, Costa del Crime. But of course, where there's such enormous wealth. Yeah. Clearly, it's going to bring good and bad. Mostly good, thankfully, but also some bad, obviously, clearly.
Yeah. No, I mean that anywhere in the world you get that, and it's New York and London and stuff, but it jumps up here.
100%.
One of the things in Sotogrande that I think has delayed its development, has been the absence of content, and by that I mean restaurants that you can go to. And the choice you have, 60 kilometers away. Yeah. For example, I mean, the cinema that you talked about, that we still don't have and probably never have, because Sotogrande is a finite residential resort, and I compare it to, say, I can't compare it exactly to La Zagaleta, something which is not in the town
fair
itself,
comparison,
but just outside. It could be even not Ben Javi's maybe has a town hall, I'm not sure, but so it's different. But that's the sort of comparisons. But it's the absence of things to do other than what you can do here in Sotogrande, which is very top golf, very top polo. You can go sailing if you have a boat, and then of course. Something that I'm sure we get onto are the schools, that's attracting people here as well as in Marbella. So that infrastructure, you've seen that, the content rather, as I said, you have everything in Marbella. It's incredible.
Marbella is tremendously complete. I mean, you really don't want for absolutely anything, and we don't have one of each, we have 5 or 10 of each. We have a lot of really good international schools. We have, if you want to go and see a concert, we have Starlight Festival. That's becoming European on a European level famous event.
People fly into it, see it,
and with world famous artists.
Jamie Cullum comes.
For example, I mean, enormous artists that come there, and that's become like a bit of an institution. We have basically every car make you want to buy, schools, any kind of food you want, any type of restaurant you want, golf courses. I mean, you guys have tremendous golf courses. We don't have a Valderrama, but we have mini golf courses. Yeah. And so for golfers, it's wonderful. Also other sports. We have like not 2 gyms, we have 15, 20 gyms. That are amazing. And so on. But of course, it's it's Marbella. Although my area, Nueva Dorothea, La Quinta, and Portavanos is not a city, but Marbella is, and that's 7 kilometers away. And that's a city of 150,000 people, 160,000 people that goes to about 300,000 in the summer. Yeah. And obviously that's going to bring a lot of infrastructure. Yeah. And because of demand. Yeah. Yeah. So Marbella, offers pretty much everything.
As we're doing these podcasts, I thought I may introduce something new. Charlie's tips for coming to Sotogrande. And on every podcast, I will stop and give a tip in terms of coming to live here, work here, have the kids in the school here. So today it's about financial advice. Do make sure you get financial advice before you make any commitment to come here. There are things like Spanish taxes to worry about, how it impacts on your assets here and abroad, should you have some both sides. Exchange rate is very important. You must make sure that you understand what the number is going to be when you move money from one country to another. And, of course, very important is to understand what the tax implications will be for you. You don't want to be caught paying bills that you really shouldn't be paying if had you got advice. So before coming to any country, I suppose Spain and particularly Sotogrande, please do ensure you get financial advice. What's happening now on a global basis is attracting, and I see it here, I get the little end of the tail, so to speak, of the dog. And I keep telling people here that we're having Americans coming over here because they're fed up with what's happening in the US.
Correct.
We have Eastern Europeans coming here because they're fed up with what might happen over there, and they come over to check things out.
Absolutely.
We have the exodus of Brits now because 1,000 millionaires leaving a month. I mean, I don't know what number that came from, but it's been quoted.
But many.
Yeah, but many. And they don't want to go somewhere like in the north where it's cold. They come here, they have the weather, they have the sunshine, they have quality internet, they have an airport in Malaga. London from Gibraltar is 2 seconds away. It's so attractive.
Medical services, that's also an important point. We have, in Marbella we have of course the huge public hospital Costa del Sol, but we have so many private hospitals with world class service. We have a service like which is up and down the coast, not only Marbella, helicópteros sanitarios. That's an amazing service. For a reason, I pay for my family €400 a month, and and I have a helicopter if something serious happens, and an ambulance that will come to my home unlimited amount of times.
Peter, where does the helicopter land on your property?
Well, I didn't want to brag, but. No, but so it's very complete.
And I've done some work with them here as well. I did did some little bits and pieces because they come all the way down. And I've had a very, very good experience with them. Sorry, not personally, but someone who had an accident. My experience was helping them, and they were there in 15 minutes from Manilva, wherever the closest was.
One base.
And they were there here in 15 minutes, and this person was whizzed off to the hospital. And
it's a tremendous service that's quite unique in Europe.
Yeah, no, and once I knew of someone who needed a helicopter, and they took them to Sevilla.
That's right.
Where they needed a special whatever it was. I mean, don't know exactly.
So we're fortunate.
Yeah.
And then just finally, in the infrastructure, like you said, an excellent airport that flies pretty much all over the world. And then, once I forget, within Spain, the AVE, the fast train. Yeah. You're in Madrid in 2.5 hours. You're in Barcelona in 5. Tremendous. And you can go to Seville, you can go to Valencia on this fast train going 300 kilometers an hour. So
and the other thing that I'm seeing here is an incredible number of Moroccan number plates.
Yeah.
And these are, on Mercedes, big Mercedes, big Range Rovers. These are very wealthy Moroccans who are finding it there. And, getting to Morocco from here, we just go to Tarifa. We're there in an hour.
It's very easy.
It's I can be in Marrakesh in 6 hours.
Correct.
By driving myself. It's super.
We see a lot of that.
So the location as well is very positive.
100%.
Yeah. Let's fast forward a little bit to where we are today in terms of what Marbella offers. I mean, the Marbella Club is still there, which is
an institution.
Day one institution. There is a Puente Romano now.
Yeah.
You've got how many Michelin-starred restaurants there?
Yeah, well, Marbella has 4 in Michelin-star restaurants. I believe one of them is in Puente Romano for sure, but Puente Romano has 7 enormously good, fantastic restaurants inside the hotel. Well, it's Puente Romano and Nobu.
Yeah.
And
there's that big plaza there.
That's correct.
In the
and
summer.
just opposite, recently opened, is a very nice, exclusive, small commercial center called Forum.
Okay.
It's just opened, and they have restaurants. They have like a Swedish bakery. They have luxury furniture stores. They have, very, very, very nice. It's right smack in the middle of the Golden Mile.
Wow. I was there during the week, and it's every time you go, you just say, "Wow, it's a beautiful place."
No question.
Yeah. Have you heard of the pool? The pool above the old Corte Inglés?
No, to be honest, no.
Yeah, because that is a place I think that is attracting now. I think it's a Swedish or Norwegian who's launched it. It's above the old Corte Inglés and opposite the Palacio Congresos, in the corner there.
Okay.
And up there, there's this has a glass roof, and a lot of startups and people are going in there. And
the startups, yes, I've heard about, and co-working and startups that I've heard about, but I didn't realize it was called the pool.
Yeah, the pool. I'm telling you something about Marbella.
No, that's really nice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's a co-working thing really, but it's where all these guys are sort of meeting, and it's becoming a little bit of a place to be. You don't have to go obviously to America, but to start things up, and you can do it in the beautiful weather that we have.
That's correct. No, there's a lot of that going on with startups in Malaga too.
Yeah, that I've
also. But and today with the digital world that we live in, and particularly post-COVID, it's a way of life for people. And so that's why clients getting younger and younger, actively in business and moving their families down here and working fully from here.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. And long may it last, because
100%.
you and I, we are in the property business, and it's changed quite a lot since I've been here. I mean, I've been here now nearly 20 years, working at this, and it has its ups and downs. Although since 08, when there was a big crash, of course, it's been a steady growth. I'm a little bit worried about the bubble bursting.
Yeah, we don't see it. Obviously, nothing's forever, but there will be a bubble at some stage, sometime, I'm sure. But we definitely don't see any kind of signal whatsoever that that's happening. We're seeing consistent growth. There's a not new, but steadily increasing trend in the Marbella area of refurbishing old properties and selling them all done up and nice. I was just at a open house right now at an amazing €6.5 million property, completely refurbished, and which works out at about €15,000 a square meter.
Gee whiz.
And these things are selling very well. Very well.
And who are buying these properties? Who's buying right now? Is it the young Bitcoin guy? Is he still around? Or?
Yeah, also, and young Scandinavians are big on apps. A lot of the apps are created by Scandinavians, Swedes in particular. And so a lot of young people have created apps and sold them. People online gambling, IT, all kinds of backgrounds, but they're young and they're very wealthy and forward thinking, and they want modern and contemporary style, and they want to be where the action is. And so that's why they're around Andalusia, close to Puerto Banús, close to schools, close to services, close to sport and golf, and but then they have 4, 5, 6 business trips to Sweden or whatever it is a year. That's it. Yeah. Quality of life.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Swedes were one of the first people to come here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right back when before Marbella. Torremolinos and Fuengirola and that sort of area.
Correct.
But principally, the growth over certainly last century was Brits,
still mostly
Irish, but still mostly Brits.
Yeah.
But we've seen that. I mean, I've said here before, we've sold 22 different nationalities last year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's in Little Sotogrande, so I can imagine what's happening there. I mean, I know you focus
I specialize in Scandinavians. So, but I do sell to many nationalities. Not 20, but probably 13, 14 nationalities for sure.
Yeah. So it's and I mean, Poles. Estonia, from Estonian,
all the Baltic states, Poles, Hungarians, Ukrainians also, wealthy Ukrainians who come down, and everybody buying Plan B, because it's got to be one of the safest places in Europe to be. Yeah. So we're seeing a huge diversity of clients, and even U.S. clients, like you mentioned. Yeah.
Russians, because they were here at the beginning, but
they were here at the beginning, but very, very, because there's many restrictions for them,
getting money out
to getting money, moving money. So it's not many. I don't see any, but that's not strange, But even the Russian agents, I don't think they're dealing so much with Russians.
Yeah, they're all Ukrainians.
All Ukrainians, and they deal also. They've branched out and dealing with international clients.
Yeah. So Marbella is recession-proof at the moment, or
I really,
in a way,
honestly believe so. And even if and when there is a recession, because the vast majority of buyers are cash buyers, they're not dependent on mortgages, and they don't have pressure from a bank, calling them and you need to pay your mortgage. They don't have that kind of pressure. So that gives a certain stability. And so of course we're not insensitive to world circumstances, of course not, but maybe less sensitive than many other areas.
And also I think what we're selling to here is not someone who's looking for a flat, an apartment, 150,000 to send 3 or 4 brothers buying it to share. It's the 15 million, so sadly, rightly, wrongly, I'm not who am I to opinion, but that segment of wealth will always be able to come.
Wealthy people tend, very wealthy people tend to be very wealthy all the time, and if they want to play a nice place in the sun in Marbella, they will do.
Yeah. And rather be here than in the cold north.
Correct. Exactly right.
Away from
quality of life, and they can afford to pay for it, so they will have it.
Yeah. Building licenses and bureaucracy, that was one of the big problems that you had in Marbella, and that's got overcome with this new mayor, isn't it?
Not 100%.
No?
No, it still takes longer to get a building license in Marbella than it does in some neighboring
ayuntamientos
like Benavis, for example, or Estepona. But it's improved a lot. We are apparently about 2 years away from getting the general plan, finally fully approved, and that will speed things up.
Okay.
But like I say, it's improved, but it's not perfect.
Has Marbella been growing because of land, or has that stopped now? And now it's sort of regenerating itself.
It's regenerating itself, and investment has been breathtaking, simply, and demand is breathtaking. It outstrips supply. If there's any complaint in my business, is that I'm short of properties.
Wow.
And that's the truth. And that's not because
of good properties.
Of good properties. I'm referring to good properties. Yeah, thank you. But the reason is because they really are selling. That's a fact. Yeah. And also not so many people want to sell because they're enjoying the lifestyle they have, and they have a property which they enjoy, so they figure, why should I move? So, but above all, it's demand.
It's demand.
Yes.
What is the Arab influence? Because I know the King of Saudi Arabia had his house there, his palace.
That's correct.
I'm not sure it's still there or not. Then the Qataris were involved, and then
it's there, but I don't think there's anybody except staff, maybe.
Yeah. And the Abu Dhabi people, are they sort of investing as well?
We see. I recently sold actually to not Abu Dhabi, Qataris. Sold to 6 Qataris just recently.
Well done.
From Doha, so they're looking more and more into Marbella as well, and we see that trend too. We've always had a presence from Arab countries, but young Arabs. International young Arabs who are educated in UK or States, and and like that.
Clearly, because Zagaleta was bought by Abu Dhabi, a company, and
correct.
And they have a piece of land here in Sotogrande.
Okay.
Which is called La Zagaleta, but it's just outside Sotogrande as you leave. So it's part of the old Valderrama. That Patino had bought some land outside to do another Valderrama golf course, and there was a design and stuff, and I know they've acquired that, and that as part of the Zagaleta. And there was talk about them also looking at Sotogrande itself. I think that's gone away for the time being, but sometimes there's enough smoke for there to be fire.
Up 100%.
So you never know what's going to happen. But,
no, for sure.
But the investment that they're putting in is amazing. It's helped everything.
It's breathtaking, and when you have investments like Rafael Nadal, for example, he's just investing 200 million euros in the Marbella area.
This is a tennis academy or something.
Yes, No, not only that's only one thing.
Oh,
he's investing in real estate as well.
Okay.
In these brand developments, such as Dolce & Gabbana and Versace, and so on. And these developments are coming, luxury villas and apartments. More and more. That's a new trend.
Yeah. So you've got Nadal. We have Messi.
Yeah, you have Messi. You have Messi.
He bought a little hotel here, and I'm not sure he knows he's bought it, but his company has anyway.
But anyway, fair enough.
Because you never know. These guys don't know what they have. Sometimes I'm sure Nadal knows what Marbella is. Because he's probably very friendly with old Manolo Santana.
Absolutely.
When back in the day.
He was.
Yeah. We mentioned Zagaleta, Sierra Blanca, Benhavis. These places are just outside Marbella, just outside Banús, but they're still 20 minutes away.
They are, and I mean, like if you say like Sierra Blanca, they're still very much Marbella, but it's not it's not Banús and Andalucía, but you are 7, 8, 9 minutes away, and then you have an extremely luxurious gated community just above Sierra Blanca called Camohan. Where we're talking land prices of about 1,500 euros per square meter.
Wow!
So seriously luxurious.
And has that always been there, available to build as part of a general plan, or is that something relatively new?
No, that's been there for many years. Okay. But it's become more and more popular.
It's expanded out, and the views must be amazing from up there.
The views are amazing, and there's a security aspect and the standard of the properties in there. No apartments, only luxury villas.
Yeah.
And so very affluent people like to buy there.
Lucky them.
Lucky them.
Yeah. Where does the opportunity lie now for someone coming in? Someone that's saying, tell me where 5 years it will be really hot, and they can take an advantage of coming in and not go to the traditional places. Is there a place?
Like one of the biggest not problems but facts is that in the area of Andalucía to Golden Mile there's less and less land, hence the prices. But I personally still think that buying absolute prime land even at these prices, I think that in the medium to long term is a bank guaranteed investment.
Yeah.
I mean 100%, because there's no question that there's demand, and there will be demand.
And the infrastructure is still going to be okay, because I boast to people that come here saying, look, we don't have one red light here in Sotogrande. You can be from the top to the bottom in 10 minutes. There's never a traffic jam. Every time I go to Marbella, I'm in a traffic jam. And that could be any time of day because of that tunnel coming in, and it's there. So the infrastructure really needs to
needs to be improved, no doubt, to cope with the increased amount of people who live there. But when they made that tunnel, they made a very big mistake, and that is that when you come from Puerto Banús to San Pedro, and you come off towards the Ronda Road, that's a 1-lane exit from the main road, and so you have a bottleneck. That has to be converted into 2 lanes. And that causes a tailback. Rush hour.
Big piece of land there, isn't it?
And there's hotels and conference centers and even a couple of developments planned for there.
Right. So more concrete.
But also services.
No, you need that. Yeah. Where's the future? It's we just talked about it, but it all seems to be the future, doesn't it?
I don't know.
In 10 years' time, I mean, is it going to be 350,000 people all year round? Do we think that?
Hard to imagine, but who knows? But hard to imagine. But clearly, infrastructure needs to be able to cope with it. But I think that the classical areas such as Andalucía, Puerto Banús area, Golden Mile, and if you come to this way, Sotogrande, I think these areas are bomb-proof. Of course, they can go up and down. The market moves up and down depending on world circumstances. But if you take an average, it's about as safe an investment as you can possibly make. Because we have all the infrastructure, we have incredible demand, we have all services, and we have great communication with most of the world, and so there's everything is here, and we have our incredible climate.
I always say Sotogrande is a district of Marbella rather than something you can compare to, because you can't.
You can't head on, because one is a wonderful, exceptional urbanization, because that's exactly what it is. With a lot of infrastructure but it's not a city. It's not a town.
No.
And Marbella is. So you can't compare them head on.
No.
You know, to me, you know, it's two different clients and two different profiles, because you know, here you have a completely different atmosphere and different feeling than you do in Marbella. You know, and each has its appeal depending on what you're looking for.
And people that come here use Marbella in the sense that I need to go shopping, I go to Corte Inglés, I need to go to if I want a Michelin-starred restaurant, I can drive to Marbella. And guess what? It's half an hour.
It's nothing.
It's nothing.
It took me, I think, 8 minutes to get here.
Yeah, you got a very fast Porsche.
Well, all right. Fair enough. Okay, call it 32 then.
No, and no, it's only that. And of course, anybody that lives in any European city sits in their car, and within wherever they live, half an hour will get them to 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers.
Absolutely.
You know, here,
that's the reality.
Yeah. And here it's 60.
Yes.
It seems long, but it's not. It's right there.
No, it's not. It's not far.
Yeah.
No.
Is there anything that you think you would like to have in Marbella that Sotogrande offers? Maybe you just mentioned that in the terms of the peace and quiet that you might have, the tranquility that you have.
The peace and quiet is difficult because you know, simply by numbers of people who live there, so that's very difficult. Although obviously that would be great, you know. But you can find it in Marbella. You can go to live in La Zagaleta or El Madroñal, or you can go to you know, some gated urbanizations and have peace and quiet. You don't have to be, you know, close to in the heart of the Gulf Valley or close to Puerto Banús or you know. So you can find it. But what I do envy here is your infrastructure, road infrastructure. It's excellent. You know, you have very nice wide avenues, which really give a luxurious feeling. You arrived somewhere, you know, and that's amazing. And you know, and it would be great to have Valderrama transported to. I mean,
it's only 20 minutes this way.
We can't complain. Definitely not. I'm a member of Aloha, for example. I mean, we recently had a Legends Tour tournament there with Colin Montgomery and with Miguel Angel Jimenez and all the big boys. You know, they're older now, but they're still amazing. You know, so we have Ambrisas is a legendary the course that's had the World Cup and you know, and Johnny Miller and Jack Nicklaus and you know, so you know, we do have golf courses, but
you do.
But Valderrama is amazing. You know, so also pretty much.
Before we wrap up, Peter, what advice would you give anyone who's considering Marbella and wants to buy there? What would be the advice you'd give them?
Well, I don't know. It's I can understand that if somebody comes like for the first time, it's not easy because there's a sea of agencies and properties for sale. You see for sale sign and you don't really know where to turn. But try your very best to find a very well established agent in the key area that you are looking for, that you feel comfortable in. And most serious agents will guide you very, very well and give you a lot of. In our case, you know, I've been in the business for 40 years. You know, my wife is a lawyer. You know, so I have an in-house lawyer, and so I can, you know, and I have obviously all like yourself. I have all the contacts, so I can give so many answers. And speed off the process for somebody who is new and guide them in the right direction. And so that if they need, I'm not saying they have to come to me, but it would be nice. But you know, somebody like me, you know, or yourself.
No, it's. I always say, no hair, grey hair. Go for the person that's been around the block a couple of times.
Well, yeah, that's right.
You know,
correct.
Because it's you know, you get to know. And you know, you can trust someone that's been there for that period of time. You know, because
we must have done something right. You know,
we see all the time agents coming and going. You know,
correct.
And they
all
come
the time.
when things are good. They're there, and things they disappear. I mean, at the moment, there's a huge number of agents. I mean, I heard 2,000 agents on the Costa. The other day, someone said 4,000. I mean, I can't believe that.
I can't imagine 4,000.
No, maybe 4,000 people working.
Yeah, well, that's
not eight.
That I'm sure.
Yeah. But you know, it's
there's a lot of agents.
Go to someone. Yeah. I always say, find yourself a good agent, find yourself a good lawyer, and make sure you have finance.
Correct.
Don't walk around without understanding what you can afford.
That's correct. And be well informed and weigh one thing against the other, and then you will, you know, a good agent will guide you towards making the right decision. And you know, so it has a big value.
Peter, I ask everyone before they leave, is there anything that I should have asked you that I haven't?
You haven't asked me if I want a whiskey.
Okay. Whiskey next time. Okay, I'll remember that. You just had lunch. What are you talking about?
No, I'm joking. No, but no, it's very thorough, very complete. I think that hopefully the listeners will find the information interesting, and for further information, obviously you contact either yourself or myself.
Yeah. Peter, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for your insights. I'm sure the listeners and viewers will like to know a little bit of Marbella. Of course, I sell Sotogrande, you sell Marbella.
Absolutely.
But we complement each other. And I think,
absolutely.
We definitely
We're
need
friends
Marbella.
and collaborators, so it's not a problem.
Okay. So everybody, there you go. Peter Jacobson, okay, he will be very delighted to deal with anybody who wants to call him. All the details will be down in all the stuff down below here. So do look him up, and if you're in Marbella, give him a call. Particularly if you're Swedish, because he does speak Swedish.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Charles.
And thank you to all my listeners who I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please do subscribe on the button below. It'll help get some traction for this podcast. And I look forward to seeing you next time, which hopefully be very soon.